this show. That's right. We always do talk about politics on this show. But today, the politics that we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about the politics of political violence, right? So the question is, what do we really define as political violence? So how can one define political violence? Well, I'd say it like this, right? Who really cares what political violence is? More so, the question is, are people encouraging people to violence in the name of somebody else's politics, in the name of somebody else's beliefs, and specifically their wants and desires, not necessarily the desires or the wants of the people or the community as a whole. And that's something that's very concerning that we don't get to talk a lot about, because nobody wants to talk about it unless you hear the bad Republicans are saying something mean and bad today, because that's what they always like to talk about. The Republicans are bad, the Republicans are terrible. I haven't seen any Republicans encouraging anybody to violence, but I've seen all of the Democrats that are the big heads talking about, oh, the Democrats should go and they should attack the Republicans. Are you serious? Wait, what did you just say out of your mouth? You know? And they're like, oh, well, you shouldn't give them any rest, and you should give them problems and headaches, and you should confront them wherever they are. And they're deplorable, and they're terrible, and they're all of this and all of that. I don't hear that on the Republican side. I only hear that coming from the Democrat side. You know, I got some associates and I got some friends that are out here talking about they're voting for Kamala Harris. I was like, well, where was this enthusiasm for Kamala Harris before, right? I'm just inquiring, like inquiring minds want to know. And some of them aren't just like, oh, well, I support her. They're like jockeying for her. And I'm like, that's strange. Why? Right? Like, why? And I want to know, honestly and earnestly, I want to know why you would consider that Kamala Harris is somebody that you would want to vote for. Maybe my thoughts on her are wrong. Maybe you know something that I don't. But it turns out that they don't know nothing about nothing. They don't have one thing that they can say that is a valid reason or a valid statement on why they support her. You'll hear many things. You'll hear like, I support her because she's a Black woman. First of all, she's not a Black woman, and we're going to get into talking about Black and Blackness later on in this episode. I think we've talked about it before, but we're going to go into it today because something happened, made me very upset. And I'm going to have that conversation with all of y'all today. But they say, oh, she's Black, but she's not Black. But even if she was, you just voting for Black people because they Black? Is that what we're doing right now? We probably shouldn't be doing that. I live in a town that's run by all Black people. A lot of the judges is Black. Half a city council is Black. The mayor is Black. And they've been Black. And our people, Black people in Rochester, where I live, we ain't seen not a lick of nothing better. Since I've been little, let me see. 1, 2, 3, I don't know how many mayors we've had, but most of them have been Black. Okay? Except for the one white gay guy that was there for like 30 days, even though I like him because I didn't know he was gay, but they tried to make a big deal out of it. And I was glad I didn't know he was gay, right? Like, because that means that he's not flaunting it. He's just trying to go along and do general business and do everything that he does. I don't want to know about his sexual proclivities or what he does in the bedroom. I don't care. I have zero concern. I just want to know that you're doing a business, and when I have a complaint on somebody on a certain level of government, who I need to talk to, and if that's you, then that's who I'm talking to. You know, I was very happy about that. Then they tried to make it some big thing. Oh, he's the first gay mayor or whatever the case is. Why y'all putting that man's business out there like that? Why y'all do that to that man? Clearly, if it hadn't been a big thing for him when he was under mayor or whatever you call it, deputy mayor, I think it is here. Clearly, it wasn't a big thing for him then. I don't know why you would make a big thing out of it afterward. But aside from him and the former police chief that ended up being Mayor Duffy, who's now the head of the Chamber of Commerce, we have what? I think maybe one other white mayor, and the rest have been Black. So I think that's like 3 and 3, maybe. I don't think the other guy really counts. So maybe 2 and 3, you know? And I don't know before that because I wasn't alive and when I was alive. I think like Mayor Johnson was like a 3-term mayor or something, or maybe 4 terms. I don't know. Like he was in there for a long time, as far as I can remember. I don't know. He's all I knew, as far as the first mayor being, because I was little. But here's the thing: with all of these black people that are in these offices in our area, my assemblyman is what you would consider to be black. I think he's black. I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. The mayor, he's black. I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. These people could be tethers. Those are people that are not actually black Americans, but there's some sort of Caribbean or African, and they try to masquerade as being black Americans. I don't know. But they look black and everybody considers them to be black, which is a whole separate problem. And when people talk about racism, they don't talk about it under those type of guidelines, which is something that desperately needs to be talked about. But we got all these black faces and everything's getting worse for black people. But can we talk about that? No. So you talking about you going to vote for her because she's a black woman when she's not even black. Her mom is white. Her mom is Indian. Her dad is Indian and Irish. Okay, he just has Jamaican nationality because that's where he's a citizen. You know what I mean? He's got a citizenship from there. It's crazy. But we can't talk about that. She ain't got a lick of nothing that would be considered black, even black adjacent. You understand what I'm saying? So if you're voting for her for that, that don't make no sense. Don't make no sense. They try to say that Obama was black. What did he do for black people? Can't nobody name nothing. He was in office for 8 years. For like 6 of the years, they had a super majority in the Senate and in the House of Representatives. And what did he do? Nothing. The only thing anybody can say is, oh, Obama phones. First of all, that wasn't Obama. That was, I want to say it was Nixon or Reagan, the Lifeline program. That's where that came from. Hello. But y'all didn't know that. But they called them Obama phones, giving people credit for something that ain't got nothing to do with them. Okay. Then they had the Affordable Health Care Act, which destroyed everybody's private health care. And now health care costs $1 billion. I was at Rite Aid the other day. This lady said, man, I'm on Medicaid and Medicare, but I need to get some real insurance before I die. I said, oh, sugar, that tells you the real state of the, I guess you would call it medical pharmaceutical situation at this time. I call it the medical industrial complex. Y'all know, if y'all listen to this show, how I really feel about it. They're trying to make everybody sick. We don't have a healthcare system. We have a disease maintenance system. They only want to keep you just healthy enough that you don't die so they can keep making money off of you. A hospital never has a good day. If you're having a good day, they only have a good day when you got a bad day because they want to bill you. Okay? So he did the Affordable Care Act, and what did that help? That didn't help nobody. Everybody's struggling. Everything worse. Everything got worse when he was in office. Okay? Y'all can't tell me nothing good that he did outside of those 2 things. And one of them he ain't even do. And the other one was trash, which honestly, that's got a lot to do with Congress and the Democrats in Congress, and just a little bit for him because people don't understand how the presidency works. But again, somebody that's supposed to be black, even though he ain't even black, but he's a black face. This is another one of these black faces that ain't actually black, trying to supposedly represent black people. And they associated him with being black, even though he wasn't black. And it's crazy to me. It's crazy. It's crazy. Say, oh, well, Marcus, well, Obama was black. No, he wasn't. His mom was white and his dad was African. Neither of them were black Americans. He ain't black. Period. Point blank. Okay? But again, black faces, right? Black faces railroading the black community. Then they say, oh, well, I want to vote for Kamala because, oh, well, she's a woman. She's a woman? Now you know what a woman is when they got all these men with wedding tackle running around talking about, I'm a woman because I got some fake boobs or I'm wearing a dress. They be having a full bearded man wearing a dress talking about, call me ma'am. You sound like a crazy fool. I'm not calling you nothing but calling the white coats to come pick your behind up and put you in the insane asylum, you Looney Tune. You sound crazy. And I'm not about to participate with that psychosis. And if you feel some type of way about that, something wrong with you. Something wrong with you. I'm not about to sit here and accept some man telling me that he's a woman. You a man and you want to wear a dress? Okay, I don't agree with that, but that's cool. I get you. You a man, you know you a man, but you wearing a dress. That's cool. You a man, you want fake boobs. I understand that. While I might not agree with that, I understand that, but you know that you're still not a woman. The second that you tell me that you are a woman, you are a serious mental project. Somebody done been playing in your head and messed up your brain. But they saying that Kamala Harris is a woman. How do I know Kamala Harris doesn't have wedding tackle down there? Since they can't define what a woman is, how do I know she's even a woman at all? Since they don't know what a woman is, they got Ketanji Brown Jackson talking about, see, she's supposed to be what do you call it? A Supreme Court justice, talking about she's a black woman. When she got up there and interviewed in front of Congress, she couldn't even tell you what a woman was. Hello, are we having this conversation or what? The same people that done told you they don't know what a woman is, okay, are trying to tell you that Kamala Harris is a woman now. But when you confront them about them having men that are talking about their women in little girls' restrooms, okay, they don't want to have that conversation, or they'll be quick to tell you, oh, that's not happening, when it is happening. When we've got many instances of it happening all over, okay? But we can't have that conversation. And then they say, oh, well, I like her because she used to be a prosecutor. What? What? What do you mean? And then Kamala Harris get on the TV and talk about, oh, well, I got all of these billions of dollars for the opioid epidemic. You didn't get that. That was a federal case. Sit your behind down, lying. Okay, that's where that came out of. Okay, first off, lying, big lies. You incarcerated people that you had the evidence to vindicate, but you refused to supply the evidence. Hello, most of those were black men, okay, and Spanish men, okay? Can we have that conversation now? No. You was banging this man who was married, okay? You was his mistress, okay? And that's how you got in the position of being the district attorney. But can we talk about that? And that's known. Like, that's not a secret. That's known, and that talks a lot to your character. So she ain't got no character. You locking people up wrongly, knowing that you wrong. You cheating with this man, knowing that he's got a wife, okay? That's wrong, okay? You ain't got no type of morals or scruples, and then you ain't even got no religion whatsoever. Hello, come on now. We being serious? Then she don't even. I'm about to get. I wasn't even intending on going hard because, like, I don't like to talk about the presidential elections or anything going on with that. I like to keep it local. But this has been bothering me. Kamala got up there. She took all of Donald Trump's plans, and I don't care how you feel about Trump one way or another. We talked about this before, okay? If you like Trump or hate Trump, that's you. That's how you do, okay? I think that most people that just don't like Trump just shouldn't vote at all if they're not going to vote for him. Just don't vote, because how could you possibly vote for Kamala? You understand? If you don't want to vote for Trump, just don't vote. That's the move. Write yourself in. Definitely can't vote for her. You understand what I'm saying? It's crazy. And she took his ideas. She took his ideas on the child income tax credit, on increasing that. She took his ideas on the no tax on tips. She took that. She took the ideas of the building 3 million new homes. She took that. You know what I'm saying? And then she tried to talk about all these extra credits and stuff that she wants to do. That's going to cost us more taxes. Hello, I'm trying to get y'all to lower taxes. I don't want no type of taxes. And y'all try to add more taxes to pay for all of this free money that you're giving away while you still trying to naturalize all these illegal aliens to water down the vote of Black Americans and American citizens. They don't care about American citizens. Kamala and the Democrats don't care about American citizens. And y'all keep out here pumping for them so hard. How? They giving these people billions of dollars. New York State is getting $3 billion. My opponent, who I'm running against, Demond Meeks, signed a bill to get them $3 billion. You'll say, well, Marcus, it's not $3 billion. It's $2.4 billion. Yeah, is it? Plus the other $500 million that they already allocated. This is in addition to that. 2.9 sound like 3 to me. Okay? We rounding up or we rounding down? 2.9 don't round down to 2. It rounds up to 3. Are we being for real right now? It's so disgusting, man. Make me want to spit. Here's the deal. And here's the issue. When we don't have open discourse, it becomes more of an issue. Because people get in these silos and these teamified things where they're like, oh, I'm Democrat. Oh, I'm Republican. So I only vote Republican. or I only vote Democrat. Y'all sound retarded. I said what I said, and if you don't like it, you need to examine yourself internally if you felt some type of way. Okay? You only do that? That's dangerous. Okay? That means that you're not examining what the people that are running for office are actually doing. You're not examining their policies. You're not examining the history of the legislation that they've passed if they're in office currently or have been in the past. You're not doing any of that. And that's what needs to be done. I don't want you voting Republican for Republicans' sake. I want you to vote because the Republicans are the right choice to vote for in that particular race. I don't want you to vote Democrat for Democrats' sake. I want you to vote for somebody that has good policies that are going to actually move the needle forward and talk about something more than, what are they calling it now? They're calling it what is it? Reproductive health. I don't care. Democrats don't give a flying monkey's uncle about reproductive health. It's a lie. If they cared about reproductive health, we wouldn't have the highest infant mortality rate in the whole normalized world. What would you call it? The Western world, industrialized world, you know, in the Western educated, industrialized, rich, democratic nations, you know, in the world, in the weird world. You understand what I'm saying? We got the highest infant mortality rate for Black people in the world. Black Americans have the highest infant mortality rate. You explain that to me. And y'all out here talking about, oh, structural racism and stuff. And they don't never talk about that. It's rare that you ever hear a Democrat talk about that. Come on now. Where's that for reproductive health? Where's the aftercare for anybody that's had an abortion? Where's that, huh? Y'all want to talk about abortion so much, y'all don't got no type of aftercare for these people. Y'all got no follow-up. Y'all don't got no, are you all right? Y'all don't got no mental health. And then they talk about mental health. The Democrats talk about mental health like they actually give a flying monkey's uncle about mental health. You understand what I'm saying? They don't care. They're the ones that are out here passing the policies to separate and divide people and keep them so distorted and warped out of reality that people are getting more and more and more psychotic every day. And they are also funded heavily by the medical industrial complex to give these kids all of these psychotropic drugs and what do they call them? Depression pills or depression pills? What you call them? Antidepressants. And how come all the antidepressants talking about may increase thoughts of homicide or suicide? What are you talking about? How's the medicine that's supposed to make you not feel sad increase the likelihood of you committing suicide or homicide? That sounds crazy. That sounds like something's not right and there needs to be a conversation there. But can we have that conversation? And as we go in talking about mental health, then and we talk about the complexity of what do you call it? Political violence, right? Like the Democrats are always calling for violence against the Republicans. They're like, hate them because they're bad, they're monsters, they're deplorable. What's the other stuff that they say? All types of stuff, you know, but they say all types of stuff. And Kamala was just saying some crazy thing the other day about Republicans and how bad they are and how you shouldn't deal with them and how you shouldn't like them and all of this stuff in a speech she was giving. I wish I had the speech in front of me so I could read it because this is crazy. It's crazy the stuff that she said. You understand what I'm saying? Well, it wasn't a speech, it was an interview. It doesn't matter. It's besides the point. But it's crazy to me that the Democrats like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and what's that black guy name? Oh my God. The black guy with the glasses, not Claiborne. Jiminy Crackers. Looks like Claiborne. I can't remember his name. Looks like a young Claiborne that's lighter skinned. I don't remember his name. I can see his face in my head, but I'm not able to recall his name. Anyway, him. He always popping some smack. Him, Cory Booker too. Cory Booker with his fake self. I can't stand me and no Cory Booker because he trying to be super black when he ain't that type of person. Just be you, brother. You black enough. Ain't nobody questioning your blackness, bro. You don't got to prove that you black to nobody. Okay, you mix, you biracial, whatever the heck you are. Nobody needs you to pretend like you black. If you black, I just need you to be you, so I know who you is instead of this fakeness that you're trying to purvey. That's why I can't deal with Cory Booker. But those other two, I wish I could remember that guy's name, that other dude's name. Oh my goodness, Jamal Bowman. That's his name, Jamal Bowman. Jamal Bowman, I think he just lost his race for re-election to somebody else too. So good to see him gone. If only we can get some more of them crazy crackpots out of there. But a lot of the people that are challenging them in the Democrat race are even more crackpotty than they are. So that's a whole nother separate problem for another conversation. But I want to let you guys know, if you're watching us online or if you're watching us on X or Twitter or YouTube or wherever you are, make sure that you subscribe and like. And if you're listening to us on the radio, let people know. Mondays, 2:30 to 4 p.m. Tune into The Divide with Marcus C. Williams right here on WRFZ 106.3. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell people that are like-minded individuals. Tune in because they talk about some real stuff on this show. And it's important to listen to different viewpoints and different concepts that you might not have thought about or considered. Now let's get back into it and into the Democrats continuing to incite violence and hatred towards Republicans. Now, we see it all throughout the news, the mainstream media, as we call them, the fake news media, as others call them, MSNBC, CNN, and all the rest of them. They curry, what do you call it? Angst, aggression, anxiety, and a lot of other thoughts and feelings and verbs, okay, against Republicans all the time. I try to turn them on. I'm going to barely stomach them for like 3 to 5 minutes. Like it's always something like way, way, way out in left field. It's funny how that is a saying, and now that saying is aggressively fitting, but you can't really talk about these things. They don't want you to talk about these things. I was doing a whole reporting last week, and then the Wi-Fi magically dropped out on my stream. I don't know if it was the Wi-Fi or the stream. I guess they didn't like something that I was saying because I was going too hard last week. Oh man, last week, if you listened to the show last week, I wish I would have had that recorded somewhere else other than just a stream. Starting next week, I'm working on raising funds for the show so I can get some more equipment and stuff, because we don't never want that to happen, because that was honestly the best show that I ever did in life. I mean, oh man, I was going in. If you heard it, lucky you for hearing it and listening to it last week. If you were watching it online, I wish I would have had the whole thing for you, because it went in and it went hard. But if you saw last night, Sunday, President Trump had some shots fired in his vicinity when he was out golfing at Mar-a-Lago. And the Secret Service were able to get the person that had a gun on the premises, or whatever the case is. He was through a fence that was like 300 yards away from where the president would have been, but he was a hole ahead, like he was waiting for him to come, or whatever the case is. And the story is still developing, and we'll never know the whole story. But it shows how in the heck did that man get so close to the fence line? How did that happen? How did that happen to begin with? And they had one Secret Service officer that was able to see him because he was searching the hole ahead. There should have been dogs and everything. How come there were no dogs? How come there's no secondary fence or barrier to prevent people from going in there? There should be a whole demilitarized zone between the street and the golf course. I don't understand. At 300 yards with a rifle, then he had an AK-47. Apparently he had an AK-47 with a scope. When I heard that he had an AK-47 at first, I'm like, how in the heck is he going to hit somebody with an AK-47 from so far away? But then I found out, it was less than 300 yards. I'm like, wait a second. How did somebody even get like 300 yards close to the president with a gun? Like, how does that even happen? So there's a lot of questions and stuff like that go into this type of a conversation. Apparently they apprehended him alive, or whatever the case was. But this type of stuff comes from people that have been warped in their concept by the media, telling them that Trump is evil, Orange Man bad, da-da-da-da-da-da. And I don't put as much stake in it as many other people do. I see him as somebody who's trying to do what he thinks is best. And honestly, he's not as bad as everybody thinks as far as being a president goes, or even being a political figure. There's a lot of people that are active that are worse than him right now. Like, for instance, Dick Cheney. We talked about him real hard last time, and I think that might be why they cut out the stream. We talked about him, and we talked about Goldman Sachs, and we talked about a lot of stuff, and it got really real and really heavy. And I think that's why they dropped our stream. But hey, you know, when you're talking real stuff, they don't want you to hear. So if you're watching online, subscribe, like, and share. Please definitely subscribe and definitely share. I need more subscriptions and more sharing. Soon we're going to start a fundraiser for some more equipment because we don't ever want that to happen where we miss a whole show, drops out like that again. We got some work we got to do, and we're going to make this show strong just for you and so that you can see the other videos and stuff that we do in the podcast and so forth. So we're going to keep fighting forward. But as far as Trump goes and this attempted assassination, yet again, it comes from the hate that they're fear-mongering on the television all the time. And they're pushing in the schools. I saw, where's my phone, man? Where's my other phone? Hold on, let me see if I can pull this video up from my Instagram and play it for you. This father, right? Like he's some black father that has like businesses, and I think they're in California or whatever the case is. Maybe it's not California. Maybe I didn't bring my other phone. Dang. I thought I had my other phone for you guys. I was gonna try to play that for you. But anyway, this black guy that owns some businesses or whatever, his daughter's in school, and his daughter came home and she's in the truck with him. They're driving home. And she apparently was told by her teachers that Republicans are bad and that they got to vote Democrat. Excuse me? What are you doing telling the children that? You ain't got no business. You ain't got no business telling the children that. And then they're like, oh, well, Trump is a bad man and he hates black people and he's going to try to send black people back to Africa. First of all, we're not from Africa. Hello. Now we're going to get into that part of the conversation. Not quite yet. We're going to come back to that. But we're not from Africa. We're from here. How's he going to send us back? He can't send us back. Ain't nowhere to send us back. This is our country. This is our land. And the majority of us are Aboriginal. We are the natives of this land. And the history of Black America will prove that when you start to dig into the history of what's been done in this country with the Dawes rolls. Go look that up. Okay. The reclassifications of non-reservation Native Americans, American Indians, or Indian American, depending on what treaty you're reading. Okay, they reclassified them that weren't on reservations as Negro. Okay, and then when you see on the TV, all the Indians that you see are the whitest of white people that you can see, or they're the ones that are in the Midwest that are more fair skinned. You understand? Well, can we have that conversation of forced breeding and stuff that was done to American Indians? No, we can't have that conversation. Oh, no. Can we talk about the schools and the first forced conversions and stuff like that? No, we can't talk about that. Canada talks about that, but we can't talk about that. I wonder why. I wonder why. See, and that's a whole nother separate issue for a whole nother episode. But as we talk about this little girl and what her teachers taught her, her dad is like, no, we need to be voting Republican. He said, my businesses can't take another 4 years of Biden, Harris, and the Democrats. He said, this is the year that I've lost the most. He said, under Trump, we made the most money we've ever made. He said, if we end up having another 4 years of them, your dad won't, he's talking about himself in the third person, right? He's like, your dad won't have a big house or anything, and we won't have anything, and we'll be destitute. What are you going to do then? Live with your teachers? Huh? And the girl's laughing in the back because it seems like a joke, because they don't understand. The youth don't understand. They don't comprehend because they have been taught zero critical thinking. They have been taught zero civics. And look at the nonsense that they're pushing on them, on the kids. Oh, you got to vote Democrat. You know, most of the teachers are registered Democrat. Do you know that? Do you? And now the majority of the teachers are leftist, crazy liberals. Okay, I said what I said. It's not untrue. And the ones that are more conservative or more moderate leaning don't speak up against the insanity that's going on in the schools. That's why here in the surrounding districts and probably in the city schools too, I got no report on that yet, but I do from various townships surrounding Rochester in the suburbs right out here, 5 of them so far, and ain't that many surrounding Rochester. So can we be real? Almost every other township, they got not doggy, what do you call them? Kitty litter boxes in the school for these things that call themselves furries, which ain't even a furry, which is a whole separate conversation. We need to talk about what a furry really is. That was just these crazy people that like to be more anonymous and wear what you would consider to be mascot outfits to have intercourse. Like that was the thing. That's what a furry is. But now they got these kids that identify as dogs and cats calling themselves furries. And that's not even what it is. You understand? It's the manipulation of language. That's how they ease stuff in. You know, that's how we got this whole trans thing, right? And we talked about this before. Because it used to be transsexual, okay? That's a guy, got wedding tackle and boobs. That's understandable. That makes sense. I can process that, okay? Or you had the transvestite, the guy that liked cross-dress and wasn't necessarily gay. Okay, I can understand that too. Both of these things make sense. But then they got these trans people that that they try to reclassify again. It's a manipulation of language because they knew that phrasing or phraseology, however you want to consider it, already exists. So we're going to take this and adopt it to this new thing in this new category. It's the same thing that they did with progressive, right? Like the progressive was an actual party. Go look it up. Go look up what the Progressive Party was. The Progressive Party was a ultra conservative group, okay, that separated from the Republican Party, and they were very powerful in their time. Okay, those are the people. The progressives are the ones who started prohibition, so nobody could drink liquor. They're the progressives are the reason why nobody could have marijuana up until recently. They're the reason why marijuana was made illegal because of them. But can we have that conversation about our nation's actual history and the manipulation of language? And now you got all these far left people talking about we're progressive because they done stolen this name to erase our history of what is actually going on. And you'll say, oh, well, that didn't happen, but it did. But it did happen. But it did happen. And can we have that conversation? Of course we can't have that conversation. It's so disgusting, man. Makes me want to spit, man. But see, this is the problem. First off, I'm going to encourage you guys, stay hydrated, drink water. So, but here's the issue. We can't talk about very, very serious things. Like the dad was saying to the daughter, they don't brainwash the girl in school talking about, oh, you got to vote Republican because you got to vote Democrat because the Democrats are for black people. The Democrats ain't never done not one lick of nothing for black people. And if you're watching us online, comment what the Democrats have done for black people ever in the history of the Democrat Party. Civil rights, that was Republicans. Free the slaves, that was Republicans. Okay, Emancipation Proclamation, again, freeing the slaves, that was Republicans. Okay, can we talk about that? Oh, wait, food stamps. Oh, wait, that was Republicans. Can we talk about any of that? No. And largely, while I'm on that brief topic, I just want to put this out there, that there's this concept that a lot of black people are on welfare when it's more white people that are on welfare by leaps and bounds. Then there are black people on welfare, and that's something that's very important to know. Okay, but let's get back into the conversation. What did the Democrats do? Okay, the Democrats formed the KKK. The Democrats did the Reconstruction Act, which took away all of the gains, which set black Americans back basically 200 years, and we still haven't gotten to where we were before the Reconstruction. Go look up the Reconstruction, read a couple books on that. That's important. I couldn't cover that in 5 shows the way it needs to be. Okay. They did the Jim Crow laws. That was the Democrats. Okay. They actively fought against the civil rights movement. Okay. That was the Democrats. But can we have that conversation? They're the reason why we have the Voter Rights Act and stuff like that, because of the Democrats being so evil that they were stopping black men and black women from being able to vote, because most of them had registered as Republicans because the Democrats didn't want them, and the Republicans were founded. Let me say it one more time so I'm clear. The Republican Party was founded as the anti-slavery party. That's why the Republican and the Democrat Party split from the Democrat-Republican Party to begin with. Hello, learn your history in your nation. Okay, learn your history in our nation. And that's something very important. Andrew Jackson, okay? Andrew Jackson was called the jackass because he was pictured and portrayed as a donkey, because the concept of a donkey, of a jackass, is that they are stubborn, is that they are hard-headed, and they are bullheaded, and they do whatever they want, and they're mean and nasty, and they got a bad temperament. And that's what we could do like 3 episodes on him. That was a monster of a man. Okay. And Andrew Jackson was a part of the Indian Removal Act, like we were talking about earlier, with the reclassification of non-reservation Indians as Negroes. Okay. Like that. That same thing. Yep. It all goes back to the Democrats hating black people again and again and again. So Andrew Jackson, the founder of the Democrat Party, was known as Andrew the Indian Killer Jackson. That's his nickname. Outside of being called the jackass, that's his nickname, Indian Killer Jackson. Look it up. I'm not making this stuff up. It's not hidden history. It's history that we know. It's common history. But we don't talk about it. And this is why they try to snatch down these statues. Why do you think that, again, the Democrats are trying to snatch down all of the statues? Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, all of the Confederate monuments and stuff like that, because they don't want you to know what goes on. They don't want you to know that that was all the Democrats. They don't want you to know anything about the history of slavery and everything that happened there. They want you to think that all of these slaves were brought over here on slave ships from Africa. Ain't no way. Ain't no way, people. And you need to understand there ain't no way. And it's a lie that has been told. It is the second largest lie in the history of the world in America that they have told the people. The first largest lie is that America is a democracy. We've never been a democracy. Nowhere does it say democracy in any state constitution. Nowhere does it say democracy in our federal constitution. Nowhere does it say democracy in any of our founding documents. We had the Articles of Confederation. We had a confederacy. Okay. Then we had a republic. But we never had a democracy. Our founders specifically did not want a democracy because that always turns to mob rule and it always boils down to tyranny. Always. Every single time throughout the history of man. But can we talk about that? If you're watching us online, if you're watching us on X, if you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, wherever, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. If you're watching right now, just hit that share button. Hit the share button right now. Do that right now. And then hit the subscribe button. Okay? Do that. And don't forget the like button. All three of them buttons. Those are important buttons. Okay? Or maybe it's follow. If you're on Twitter, it's follow. Or X, right? But this is serious conversation that we need to have. Andrew Jackson, the founder of the Democrat Party, removed hundreds of thousands. They said tens of thousands died. Okay, hundreds of thousands of American Indians from the southeastern United States. Now, if you look at all the etchings and you look at all the descriptions of the settlers, the colonies and stuff like that, and the people, the conquistadors and all of that, of all of the people that they met when they landed on the East Coast, all of them, all the etchings, all the descriptions and all of that look like Black Americans. Because they are Black Americans, because Black Americans are American Indian or Native American, whatever you want to, however you want to phrase it. Okay. Most people prefer that in that terminology now to be considered Aboriginal. Okay. I just don't call me African. That's how I feel. Don't call. I ain't got nothing to do with that whole continent. That whole continent ain't got nothing to do with me. Okay. I ain't got no ties there. My family ain't from there. I ain't got no family. My family has proudly fought in every single war that has ever happened in the history of the United States of America and previous to the United States of America. I ain't got nothing to do with no Africa. I don't know nothing about no Africa. Because I ain't never been to Africa. Well, I have been to Africa. But I'm saying my family ain't never been to Africa. We're not from Africa, is what I'm saying. We're not. So let's go into the concept of being Black and stuff like that. Let me check this stream, make sure the stream is still streaming, because you know how they like to do. So as we are on here and we started to talk about Blackness, let's get one thing clear, okay? Black implies Black American. Jamaicans will often tell you, no, I'm not Black, I'm Jamaican. Haitians will often tell you, no, I'm not Black, I'm Haitian, okay? Same thing with the rest of the Caribbean islanders, same thing with Africans and all of that. And it can lead to a fight. Like call a Cuban, okay? Call a Cuban Dominican and see what happens. Call a Dominican Haitian and see what happens. And they on the same island. You understand what I'm saying? Black is an ethno-nationality. And that needs to be very well known and understood. but they try to erase us and they try to minimize our culture, our history, and our lineage. And then the same people that say, oh, no, that didn't happen, are the same people that say that the government is systematically racist and that white people are trying to keep the black man down. Come on now. Who's foolish? You sound dumb. Come on now. This is crazy. But as we have this conversation, and it's important now more than ever, because we see the games that are being played with Black Americans in this election. This is going to be the real last election. If Kamala wins, there's not going to be any reprieve for Black Americans. It's over. It's over, because they're trying to give amnesty and not nationalization. Well, I mean, I guess naturalization, and try to make all of these illegal aliens citizens. And that's going to be a whole new demographic of voting bloc. And that will basically eliminate the black vote. You talk about voter disenfranchisement. They talk about, oh, the Republicans are trying to disenfranchise voters because they require ID. I don't know anybody that doesn't have ID. Okay, and in the states where they do have voter ID, you can easily get a voter ID document. It's free. Okay, and in New York State, you can get an ID. It's $15, $20 for a regular state identification. Come on now, we're not being real right now. Okay, this is wrong, what's being done. And they're trying to erase black people and replace them with all these illegal aliens. If you look at where they're putting all these illegal aliens, how come they're in all the black neighborhoods in Brooklyn and Queens and all of this stuff? How come they're in all our neighborhoods and communities? How come they're in all the black neighborhoods in Chicago and in Compton and in what's left of Compton, right? That's a whole nother conversation. In LA and San Francisco and stuff like that. How come that's where they're all being put? In the black neighborhoods. How come that's what's starting to happen in Atlanta? But they're not even talking about that. Sometimes they talk about Atlanta, but not like that very often. You know, they're replacing us. They're replacing us. And it's happening largely in a lot of these large cities that are run by Democrats predominantly. And they're giving them free money. And at the same time, they're complaining that we don't have enough money for, for WIC, and we don't have enough money for social services and stuff like that, but they're giving these illegal aliens thousands upon thousands of dollars a month. They got them right here in Monroe County where I live. Thousands of dollars a month, and people out here struggling to make rent, struggling for food for their kids, struggling to pay their insurance because insurance has skyrocketed because the crime's so bad, because these daggone Democrats have passed laws and policies that have increased the crime and decreased the quality of education, so people don't have the options or the opportunities that they should or would. And largely, it's all in the black communities. Now you explain that to me. Explain it to me like I'm 5. It's so disgusting it makes you want to spit. And this is the real deal when we talk about these things. But they don't want you to talk about these things, because if you openly start talking about these things, you'd have to think, well, wait a second. Maybe what I'm being led to believe is not true. Wait a second. Maybe what I'm being led to believe might be a lie. I saw my opponent who I'm running against. If you guys want to support me, I'm running for state assembly. Go to my website, Marcus4Rochester.com. That's Marcus4Rochester.com, and donate. That'd be definitely greatly appreciated. If you want to donate to the show itself, shoot me an email, MarcusWilliams222@outlook.com. That's MarcusWilliams222@outlook.com. We're about to get a GoFundMe up for the shows that we do, for the Divide, for Elephant in the Room, and we're working on, if we raise enough money, we're going to start another show on Wednesday, and we'd like to do one on Thursday as well. But as we go on and we talk about these very serious issues, Democrats don't want you to talk about it. Let's go back to the blackness, right? So these people that are these illegal aliens are being funneled here because of the horrible border policies by the Democrats who refuse to close the border. Who's impacted? Not the white people like that. No offense, my white friends and family and supporters, but it's not the white people like that. It's the black Americans that are suffering the most. Like, matter of fact, Trump said it out his mouth. The people being impacted the most are black Americans. Trump said that. Trump knows what time it is, but they try to paint him like some sort of crazy madman and all of this and all of that. That man is more on the ball than most people think. And again, this isn't me jockeying for him or anything like that. That's just me stating facts. Because unlike a lot of people, I actually listen to him, right? Like I'm very, very choosy when it comes to politicians. So I make sure that I listen to as much of everything that they put out as possible. Even Kamala, I listen to all her daggone nonsense. And I say nonsense because if you ever listen to her talk or her speeches or her interviews or whatever, and I watch hours upon hours of her stuff, it is painstakingly sorrowful. It's just bad. So I don't understand how anybody can support her, whatever. It's crazy. Anyway, but they're replacing Black Americans. That's what they are. They said, oh, remember they used to say, oh, the white people are talking about they're replacing us, they're replacing us, they're replacing us. But they weren't. They were replacing them. And they're replacing largely us. But it's always largely been us who they've been replacing. Look at the jobs, right? Like if you're Black and you're in my age group, right? Like you probably know a lot of older people. And a lot of the older people, you talk to them, they're like, that are Black, you talk to them, they're a plumber, a contractor, a mechanic. You know what I'm saying? All of these things. They do this lawn work, they do the roofing, they do all of these things, right? Who's got those jobs nowadays? Who's got those jobs? Non-Americans. Non-Americans. And that don't mean that that's a bad thing for them. It just means it's a bad thing for Americans. You understand what I'm saying? Especially specifically Blacks. Because what really are the options? Now you got all this flood of illegal aliens coming into our nation, and most of them can't read, can't write, can't even speak English. In my county, Monroe County, they got 9 new languages. 9 that we have never had in this county before, and they're trying to force it on the school districts, costing us more money, and we're teaching these kids in languages that we don't even know, and we ain't even teaching them no English. No English. We're teaching them all in their own languages. We ain't got no business teaching them in their own languages. We need to be teaching them in English. They need to learn English because the language in this country is English. Well, Marcus, America doesn't have no official language. Ain't nobody trying to listen to you. You can take yourself and get out the country too. Ask me how I really feel about it. Okay? I ain't got no type of time for that because they're erasing Americans. Now, to all my white friends and all my white fans and all my white listeners, let me tell you this right here, right now. If you know anybody that considers themselves American and they feel some type of way about Black Americans, I need you to understand this. Black Americans are the last of the true Americans that are left. Fact. Fact. Most white Americans have been bred out. Okay, this is true. This is true. Back around the 70s with the whole, and this happened to the white people at the same time this happened to the Black people with the breakup of the Black family, the deindustrialization of the cities, and the whole CPS nonsense and stuff like that was forcing through Lyndon B. Johnson. Oh, wait, another Democrat who was known to be the most racist person that we have ever seen since Andrew Jackson. That's crazy. But that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother show. But at the same time he was destroying the Black family and the Black people and everything, all of a sudden, all the white people were no longer Italian, no longer Irish, no longer whatever they are, no longer German, whatever, right? No longer Dutch. All of the people that looked fair-skinned were white all of a sudden. But before that, they were all whatever, wherever they were from. Okay? And a lot of them, and still today, because I hang out, I do a lot of fellowship with Italians and stuff like that, and Sicilians and stuff like that. And let it be known that they still are very proud of their heritage and lineage. And it has not completely gone. Like they might check white on a box, but that's only because they don't have Italian on there. Okay, let's be honest and let's be real. But we can't talk about that fact that everybody was lumped into being white too. Because they wanted to erase the white Americans that had been here that were left. That was to minimize that. And now they're all pretty much gone unless you go to the backwoods of West Virginia somewhere or into the middle of the mountains in Kentucky or something. Like they just don't exist. Black Americans are what's left of them, of the original Americans. That's it. Black Americans go, we ain't got nobody else. that's still truly American. And you can see that they're trying to erase our our concept of national pride. Okay. When I was little, everything used to be American pride. I'm proud to be an American, American proud, all this, all that. Then it turned to pride for being homosexual, okay, and all of this other nonsense. So they stole the word pride the same way they stole the rainbow from the Lord, okay, from his promise, and they corrupted that too. I don't understand why people aren't putting two and two together. And that's not a slap at anybody. That's just pointing out a fact that happened because it's stripping away our unity. That's what it is. It was a whole play, and people will get offended and they'll be like, hum, 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 hum. Right? Because that's what people say. They get all frumpy when you say something that hurts their feelings because they can't actually cognitively think about it because most people don't have very much critical thinking skills, and people have been so segmented so fast, so hard their whole life that all they can do is think in their little silos and little boxes. There's a song. It's called, if you guys ever saw the TV show Weeds, it was actually the theme song for the TV show Weeds. But it goes, little boxes on a hillside, and they're all made out of ticky-tacky little boxes on a hillside, and they all look just the same. And there's green ones, and there's red ones, and I'm messing up the lyrics of the song, but that's essentially it. And then it says, and all the kids went to school, and they all came out all the same, right? And there's doctors, and there's lawyers, and they all went to the university, and they were put in boxes, and they all came out just the same. And that song, that's an older song too. Go look it up. That's an old song too. And it's really telling you what happens in America. All of these silos, all of these boxes that they put us in to try to separate us from everybody else, to try to keep us limited, to try to keep us in our own very small perspective and not to think outside of the box. That's what they tell you, depending on your age range, you might have heard it. Like people older than me know it for sure. And like some people from my generation have heard it from certain teachers and stuff like that. Think outside the box. If you're a business professional, I'm sure you've heard that. Think outside the box. Think outside the box. Because everybody is put in these boxes. They send you to school with no type of critical thinking. You know, and we talked about the study that showed that most kids enter school starting off as geniuses in kindergarten, and then by the time they're in high school, less than 2-3% are still geniuses because they've all been forced into conformity. And that's what's happening in our nation, especially with the Democrat Party. If you don't believe what they believe, if you don't think the way that they think, they want to ostracize you. They want to make it so that you're derided. They want to make it so that you can't get jobs. They want to make it so you can't go out your house. Remember that? Remember COVID? They didn't want you to go out your house. You couldn't go to the library. You couldn't go get no food. Okay? Unless you had all them shots. Can we talk about that? No, we can't talk about them shots. So we can't talk about that. That's like that never happened. That's like that never happened. Like they killed all of them old people from death of a broken heart because they wouldn't let them see their family members. We can't talk about that neither. Most of them old people wasn't even sick to die. They died of a broken heart because you wouldn't let them see their family. That's what the Democrats did here. And then people in New York, a lot of them don't even realize that most of the country wasn't even locked down like that. It was only in the Democrat-run states. Don't even get me started. So disgusting. Drink water. Stay hydrated. So disgusting. Listen. Let me check this stream and make sure it's still going. You guys. As we continue to talk about this type of stuff, it's serious because they want you to forget. They want you to forget everything. And every time they'll put you in a new box. You're inside. Most of the people are inside so many boxes. It's like Russian nesting dolls. I don't know if you've seen those little dolls. If y'all know what the Russian nesting dolls are, where they got the little doll inside the doll and you pull the cap off of the doll, and then there's another doll inside and you pull the one off of that, and there's another one inside of that. Russian nesting dolls. That's how many boxes they got people in. And it's so hard to break down the walls. You know, they say break down walls. You know, it's so hard to break down all of the walls that have been put up of all the boxes that they've been put in to try to get to them, to try to reach them. Because people don't want to hear it. Because they have one thought, they have one way of thinking, They don't want to hear anything that you have to say. You know, it's crazy. It's like if you talk to a lot of people now that consider themselves leftist, and you talk to them about God, and you listen to them, what they have to say about God and why they don't believe in Christianity or whatever nonsense they have. Oh, I turned away for it for this reason or that reason. And then you start talking to them and saying, yo, but what you're talking about isn't a real thing. And they're like, oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But show them the scripture. And it's like, that ain't even what it says. Show it to me in the scripture. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That's what it's all about. You don't know what it's about. You don't know what it's about. Like most people they don't know what being black is about. Okay? And I'm not talking about white people. I'm talking about these people that are calling themselves black that ain't, and they know they ain't black. They out here. I got into an argument, man. Listen, let me tell you. I got into it with this Jamaican, okay? Talking about I shouldn't say that Jamaicans aren't black. I say what the hell I want to say. Excuse me. I say what the heaven I want to say. Mind my words. Okay? I say what I want to say because it's true. I often tell you, and if you listen to me on my shows or anything that I do, I will every now and then I'll say this. Don't believe me because I'm saying. Believe me because I'm telling. Right? Because there's a difference in me saying something and me telling you. I'm telling you because I've sat with it, I've analyzed it, I've gone through it. I have a real reason to believe that that is the most likely thing that is true. Okay, so don't believe me because I'm saying it. Believe me because I'm telling you. If I felt even a little bit like it wasn't right, I wouldn't tell you. Or I'd preface the fact that I don't even know that that's 100% a fact or not right or whatever the case is. Anyway, I'm talking to this lady. She talking about, oh, well, my kids consider themselves black. I said, are you black? I said, you Jamaican, right? I said, are you black? She said, well, my kids consider that. I said, I didn't ask you about them. I asked you. And you said that they consider themselves black. That don't make them black. I can consider myself a white 12-foot tall woman with a unicorn horn. That don't make it so. Look at all these people out here talking about they women when they men. That don't make it so. I can consider myself the richest man in the world, the most wealthiest man in the world tomorrow. But then if I go to the bank ain't gonna identify me as the wealthiest man in the world. Come on now. What are we talking about? Are we having a serious conversation? Man, it is frustrating, right? Because they're trying to co-opt the black identity, right? They're trying to co-opt the black identity, and that is a very serious issue because it's a continued how do you say? I guess you would say dilution, right? I don't even know if that's how you would conjugate that word. Is it conjugate in English? Is that how we say that? I don't know. It is today. Anyway, it's a continued dilution of Black American culture and lineage and heritage. But again, it's not just seen in Black America. It's seen in all of America. They're watering down America the same way they're watering down blacks. What is black? And that's a very serious problem. So what's America's favorite food? Like what are America's food? What's our culture, American culture? You know, I heard the other day somebody said, our diversity is our strength. Use a lie. Use a fool if you think our diversity is our strength. Our fortitude, our stick-to-itiveness, okay? Our temperament to take on the toughest of tasks and grit our nails and our teeth and go at it. That is our strength as Americans. Our Americanness to not take no BS from nobody, that is our strength as a nation. Okay? That is our strength. Our tenacity, our fortitude. That's America's strength. Not diversity. Diversity ain't got nothing to do with our strength. Are you serious right now? You playing in my face. You pontificating because it sounds good. Y'all sound like the Pope. The Pope said the other day, oh, all religions lead to heaven. Use a daggone lie. Apostate. The Pope is an apostate. I just said that live on the air and on the video. And if you feel some type of way, you know how to reach me. I said what I said. If you are a Christian and you believe that all other religions lead to heaven and lead to Lord and lead to being saved, you are not a Christian. And you daggone sure ain't a Catholic if you believe that. Despicable. Despicable that he would come out his mouth and say that. And he's supposed to be the leader of the Catholic religion. Get the heck out of here. Talking about, oh, Catholicism is the original Christianity. It is? Because you out here talking about, oh, all the other religions lead to heaven and lead to salvation. You's a daggone lie. Stop lying to these people. Stop leading them to hell. It's only the way to prepare. They're only working on that to prepare the way for one world religion. Mark my word on that, because it's already happening. That's a whole nother episode to talk about. I wasn't planning on getting this serious today. But that's a whole nother thing to talk about, that they're trying to push one world religion where everything is accepted, everything is permissible, and nothing is not okay. And that's why we see men running around with fake boobs and their pee out, okay, dancing around kids like it's okay. And then they want to tell you that you're wrong for saying that that's wrong. Don't play in my face, okay? Don't take a piss and tell me it's raining. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's what we're not doing. That's what we're not doing. I will not know. If you want to take me out, if you're going to call the trains, if you're going to execute me over saying that a man is a man and a woman is a woman, I guess that's it. Okay, I'll be the last person to make sure that I am still standing against that. I will not ever participate in that psychosis. If you are born with wedding tackle, you are a man. If you are born with a vagina, you are a woman. You are a female, and ain't nothing that you doing with no type of gene editing or manipulation gonna make it different. You are only corrupting the beautiful organism that you are, the blessing from heaven that you are. You are corrupting it and making it a depravity to nature, and you are in need of love. You're in need of love. You need somebody to hug you and say, it's okay. It's okay that you're confused. It's okay that you might not feel like you're in the right body. And it's okay that you were born perfect to be you. I can't be Joe down the street. Okay. I can't be Susie up the block. Okay. I can only be Marcus C. Williams. That is who I am. And I am nobody else, and nobody else is me. And that's very, very important. That's why people be like, oh, Marcus Williams. I'm like, Marcus C. Williams. Marcus Williams is somebody else. Okay. We have to be clear about that. But these people, before they get to the point where they start changing body parts and going all corrupted by society and stuff like that, we need to make sure that we're filling them with love and acceptance and telling them that it's okay to feel different and that they're their own individual. They were born perfect in an imperfect world, and they don't need to change anything about their body or mutilate their body so that they can feel better about themselves, because the truth of the matter is that they'll feel worse. They'll feel worse afterward. That's why the suicide rate of people that do the hormones and gender transition is so high. But we can't talk about that because they don't want you to talk about that. There's so many issues with detransitioners that are permanently sterilized, or they've got so many health issues and stuff like that. It's terrible. It's terrible. One girl, Chloe Cole, is a detransitioner. Look her up. I feel bad for her, right? Because she looked almost kind of cute. Like if she hadn't mutilated her whole body and took all them drugs, like she'd probably be an all right looking female. She still looked kind of cute. But that's sad. That's sad that they convinced that girl to do all those things to her body. That's sad that they're convincing all of these people to do these things to their body to make them happy, when it's not going to make them happy. The only thing that's going to fulfill them, to fill that empty void inside their heart, is to get to know the Lord, our Father in heaven above, is to turn to Jesus and follow his teachings so that he can lead them to the Lord, to fill them with the Holy Spirit so that they no longer feel that emptiness. And that doesn't mean that it's easy being a Christian. I'd never say that. Trust and believe. It is very difficult. It's very difficult, but that's okay. It's okay that being a Christian is difficult because it's a righteous path. It might be hard, but it's only hard because it's right. Pause. uh, and 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 I laugh, because it's funny, right? Like being a Christian, speaking up against unrighteousness that's happening in our world is something that's required by the Bible, and not enough people do it. And that's also another big issue. And we need to be able to do that as Christians. But people are concerned about how it will look to others. People are concerned about what's going to happen to them, or if their job is going to be okay with it, or if they're going to try to do something to them, or whatever the case. And if you're a Christian and you're listening to this, you need to stand up. Look at all this unrighteousness and evil depravity that's in the world that people aren't speaking against. They're telling little children to mutilate their body. And these are the same people that would be like, oh, we're against female genital mutilation. Well, are you against female genital mutilation now? Are you? Remember, they were like, they don't want female circumcision. Y'all remember, if you're older than me, I'm sure for sure, they were getting on Africa for female circumcision. And now they're trying to tell people cut all their body parts all up. Cut off part of your hamstring, and we're going to turn it into a fake penis. Are you serious? Is that something that you're okay with now? What is going on here? What is so disgusting? It makes you want to spit, man. I tell you what. And really, 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 as Christians, we must stand up and lead people to a more righteous path. Christians haven't spoken up, and that's the reason why we're in such a predicament that we're in right now. Because Christians that know better, against this perversion, against this evil that's continuing to grow, against this despair. It's really the despair is a tool of the devil that is his favorite weapon against the people. They have driven so many people, like I talked about the boxes that they put so many people in, the boxes and boxes and boxes. That's only to separate you from everybody else so that you feel great despair. That's why we got all these kids out here talking about I'm LGMMNOP. Okay? They don't know what they are because they've been told not to know what they are so that they can be part of a group, so that they can have some type of knowing that they're part of a group. That sounds retarded. It really does. It sounds like somebody has held you back from being able to mentally advance conceptually, and that you have been stunted in your mental growth purposefully. Because if you knew anything about critical thinking, if you knew that you were made in a perfect body for your life, for your being, you wouldn't be up to none of that crazy nonsense. And then I did some evangelism over the weekend the other day, maybe it was last Thursday or something like that. And I was preaching on that specific thing. We got so many people now that identify as all these alphabet characteristics, and they're not even gay. It's terrifying. It's terrifying. Like, I don't know. I know I might think differently than some people, right? Because some people are like, nobody's born gay. I'm like, I don't know about that. Because when I was little, I remember this kid, we were in elementary school and kindergarten, and I knew he was gay then before I knew what gay was. I knew that he wasn't right. So I don't know. When somebody told me that people ain't born gay, I don't think that's right. Then you knew a whole bunch of people. Most people knew somebody in middle school. You're like, that person gay. They gay. I know they gay. But they talking about they ain't gay. And then later they turn out to be gay. And then he was like, see, I knew. So when people say that people aren't born gay, I don't think that's true. I believe that it is true. And that is their predestined their predestined proclivity to the opposite gender. It doesn't mean that they have to give in to that temptation, but that's their struggle to deal with, But there are all these other people that aren't like that were not born homosexual, okay, that now identify as elemental Q, two-spirited, I'm identify as a dog, a bat, a cat, all this other nonsense. A cat? A dog? You understand what I'm saying? Do I need to euthanize you? What is going on? What is going on? I saw somebody on the internet, because these people crazy, all these people really, really, real crazy in real life. They made a song on a TikTok. I'm not on TikTok yet. I got to get on TikTok, I guess. But somebody put it on Instagram, and it was like, just because I identify as an animal doesn't mean that you can hunt me. And they had a whole song about it. Why not? Why not? You identify as an animal, maybe you should get treated as one. Why not? Let's start spaying and neutering all of these people talking about they animals. Let's start with that. We castrating these animals like we do the dogs at the what do you call it? The animal shelter. We castrating them. We snipping them. Maybe we should be snipping them. Okay, that's what they want. I don't honestly advocate for that. Okay, I'm very big on animal rights and stuff like that, but I'm not one of those people that thinks that all these animals should be getting spayed or neutered, especially if you're taking them home. Because I would never want somebody to do that to me. So I'd never do that to another animal. I think it's wrong. Okay, but I do understand why some people think that it's okay. It doesn't mean that I have to agree with them, but I understand. But should that happen to them? You understand what I'm saying? How far are they willing to take this? How much dog food you about to eat? What about these people that identify as ghosts? You about to transition through the wall? You show me you can go through the wall. You a ghost? Your pronouns is ghost and ghost self. Go run through the wall. I want to see it happen. Go through the floor. I want to see it happen. Can I hit you with a frying pan? Is you gonna go through the frying pan? What's gonna happen? You understand what I'm saying? Like, this is insane. And I'm not about to sit here and go along with it. But as we talk about these serious issues, we have to get back to the task of who is doing this and for what reason. And all of this is being pushed by the Democrats. But they'll tell you that the Republicans are evil when the Democrats are teaching children to hate themselves, to hate who they are, to hate each other. When they're teaching friends and family members to hate each other, to inform on each other for the government. Oh, you've got too many people at your house on Thanksgiving. I'm going to turn you in. That's what happened during COVID. But can we talk about that? No, can't talk about that. And it's only going to get worse until more people start standing up. We need a revival in America. We need an American revival, a revival of the American spirit, a revival of American biblical scriptural values, a revival of what our country's principles were and our foundation, a revival of constitutionality. We need an American revival. That's what we need. And we, as good citizens that believe in our country, that love our country, should be pushing very hard to restore our nation to its root philosophies. You know, and I could talk about this for some time, but I'm going to encourage you to like and share this video right now. If you're watching us online, just make sure you subscribe or follow. And if you're listening to us every Monday, WRFZ 106.3 Rochester Free Radio, Monday 2:30 to 4 p.m. Make sure that you tune in. And remember, we also do the podcast Elephant in the Room Sundays from 6:30 to 7:30. Okay, we did a hiatus the last 2 weekends, but our next podcast is next week. Is this coming up this week? I suppose technically next weekend because Sunday's the first day of the week. But you got me. Now, one thing I want to say as we're going on here. If we don't restore our values, if we don't restore our culture, and we just let all of these people in from all of these other countries that refuse to be American, right? Like, they're out here, they don't want to learn the language, they don't care, they're out there claiming their own nations and everything, raising their own flags and stuff like that. That is a declaration of war against the American people. I'm American. I don't got nothing nobody else in me but America. Okay, that is an affront to everybody in this nation that is a citizen. That's an affront to everybody that has legally come into this country and become a citizen. I just had a couple of friends of mine that are French that are now American citizens Shout out to you, Pascal, if you're and your family, if you guys are listening. But I'm so happy and I'm so proud of them. And I do a lot of stuff with refugees and stuff like that, immigrants and stuff like that. And it's such an empowering thing to see them get their citizenships that I know that they work so hard for and that they really love our country. But these people flooding through our borders don't care about our country. They don't care about the direction that we're going in. And all they're going to be used is by the government to subjugate the American people and keep us under the thumb of the government so that we don't rise up against the government because the government ain't right now. We had the American Revolution over a 2% tax. We're almost at 50-something% tax right now. Are we being real right now? The Constitution says if the government get all corrupt and whatnot, you should turn it over and pour it out like a messed up cup of tea. Are we being serious right now? And nobody's standing up, nobody's speaking up, not on the levels that we need to make any type of difference. We got everybody talking about, oh, I'm not even going to go out and vote or do anything because nothing's ever going to change. Well, nothing's going to change if you don't change it. Change only happens when you become the change that you want to see, when you're supporting the people that are working to make the change that you want to see. But not enough people are standing up. We got many, where I live right now, we got a large slate of good candidates. And I'd love to talk about that at length at some point. Because I feel some type of way. We got a lot of good candidates running here, specifically on the Republican ticket for this year. And there aren't enough people to help. They're great candidates, all of them, including myself, especially myself, right? Let me take a second and pat myself on the back for being so awesome. I'm joking, but I'm also serious. But there aren't enough people helping. We need more donations. Please donate to my campaign. www.marcus4rochester.com. That's Marcus4rochester.com. But the point is we got real people just willing to stand up and speak against the evil, speak against the horrible policies that are destroying our nation and our area. But the people that say that they care about these things won't stand up and get active to do anything to help move the needle forward. So I pray this year, if you're listening to this with your ears, that you get active, that you start standing up, even if it's on the local level. If you don't see anybody running that's any good, maybe you need to run yourself. But get active, get involved. And that's my message to you. And remember, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Take action. Be blessed and be well. I'll catch you guys next week. Monday, WRFZ 106.3 Rochester Free Radio. And remember, check out the podcast Elephant in the Room, Sundays 6:30 to 7:30. The new episode's coming out this Sunday. We'll catch you guys soon. And remember, stay strong. Bye, guys.